Hello, and welcome to my channel, Divine Disclosures. This message is one that came to me through a vision. I woke up a couple weeks ago and I saw a vision of two heads. It looked like they were in a taxi, like one in the passenger seat, one in the driver's seat. But then when I opened my eyes and I started thinking about it and praying about it, it was like it was becoming more and more clear to me. It turns out the two heads were in front of the windshield. And the windshield really stood out to me. I knew I was supposed to look up what that meant because it wasn't in the vision for nothing. Now, when I looked that up, I found out that the windshield, the front windshield more specifically, it represents our worldview, how we perceive things, how we see things, okay, how we understand things. And the Lord is saying that you are going to be seeing things more clearly. Things are being revealed, unveiled, uncovered. This is what they call the apocalypse. It's been happening for quite some time, but I guess it's going to be sped up. It's going to be more so than ever before, is what I'm understanding. So the two heads, the more I thought back upon the vision, I could tell that they were cartoonish. Because first I thought they were real, just regular people, faces, and then I could tell that they weren't. One was a black man's head, the other was a white woman with orange hair. The woman with the orange hair, it was, hair coming down, I guess, to around her chin area, and the locks were very well defined. They were rounded at the bottom, and they kind of almost resembled noodles, and the way the hair was flowing was very unnatural. And the look on the black man's face was very unnatural. And so I immediately, oh my goodness, he's showing me a reptilian face. I'm so sorry. He's showing me a reptilian face made out of a floral decoration that I have on something. It just all of the sudden turned into a perfect reptilian face. I'm not kidding. It's happening right now. And so the first thing that I noticed about these two heads that were cartoonish looking, their heads were on a stick. Okay? I didn't notice this in the very beginning, but their heads were on a stick and they were actually outside of the vehicle. Immediately I thought of Men in Black. I didn't know what scene it was, but I knew there were some kind of aliens with heads on the stick or something to that nature. When I looked it up, the scene that came up was in the very first movie when there was a van of supposed like Mexican immigrants trying to cross the border or something, and the Men in Black come up and they look at all the immigrants, and then he focuses on one. And the one, he starts to detect that, this guy isn't acting like the other Mexicans. So he takes off his cloak and he finds out there's an alien under there holding a stick with a human head on it. Okay? And he was able to make this human head animated because you could see the eyes moving and the mouth moving, but it wasn't quite speaking any language that we knew of. And so he detected this is actually an alien posing as a human. Okay? And this is what this vision is about. The black man he was revealing to me was a very well-known figure. It represents what this guy represents. Okay? There was a very well-known figure. It was a black newscaster. I think maybe he was on Good Morning America or something like that. This is many years ago because I haven't really watched TV regularly for about 20 years. And so when I did, I do remember this person. And then later on the internet, I would come across videos that would show this person malfunctioning. And then I found a lot of other videos where the news reporters would malfunction. They would fall down, they would glitch, and you could tell there was absolutely nothing human about them except the skin suit on them that looked real. Okay? And so you would see people accessing, like what would look like a box of, like a control panel, maybe on their back or their arms or something. And they would have to like push some buttons and do different things because these weren't humans that were falling down having a health event. This was, like an android robot or something. So that's what he represents. How there are certain people that, you know and you trusted and you thought was just a human being reporting the news, and they really weren't. And then the next thing in the vision, the girl, she had the orange hair, and I immediately knew what it was because there was only one thing I've ever seen in my whole life that resembles anything like what I saw. And that is the girl who is in the movie The Fifth Element. And I looked up exactly what she was considered. I was like, well, is she even considered an alien? Because it's been so long since I've seen that movie, I just couldn't remember. And so I looked it up, and sure enough, she is considered like, more of a benevolent type of alien creature, like some type of chosen alien creature. I don't know all the details, but it wasn't fully human, okay? So in this vision, I saw the girl, and she was the one from The Fifth Element, and I remembered that they had sexualized this girl. But I also know that the person that plays this girl is actually a male. Okay, so you actually have a male that, they've done different surgical procedures on to shave off, Adam's apples, and to take out some ribs or whatever, and shape the ribs, and give them hormone treatments, and give them surgical enhancements to make people lust after a man, which is a whole nother subject. I'm not going to get into that, but the point is, people thought it was a woman, but it's a man, okay? And it looks 100% like a human, but it's not. In the Bible, it talks about how the fallen ones can shapeshift. Maybe not all of them, but there are certain ones who can. They can turn into whatever they want to appear to the humans to look like, so that they can deceive them. They can be scary to terrorize people, or they can be beautiful to lure people in to worship them. And so that's basically what we're dealing with. We're dealing with, people in positions of power and authority and influence over us that aren't even human. They're maybe robots, maybe fallen ones, maybe holographic projections. And if you've never heard of this stuff before, it's something that's hard to accept. Okay, the first time you might hear about it, you want to brush it aside. You want to be like, no, that couldn't be the case. And this is typical of our flesh. Our flesh wants to deny anything that's uncomfortable. It wants to deny anything that's not feeding it and making it feel wonderful. And so when we come into uncomfortable truths, we want to deny them. We want to reject them. But then we're living in a lie. We're living under a deception. And the Lord doesn't want his people to be under a deception. He wants you to be set free from every lie that you believe. And not everybody around us is human. Not everybody around us is to be trusted. Not everybody up above us in authority has our best interest at heart. Okay? And there's so many things to get into, but I don't think he wants me to get into much more. Basically, what he's saying is people are going to see things more clearly now. And so you have a decision to make. Am I going to lie to myself, be in denial, place myself under more mental and spiritual bondage because I'm under a lie, I'm believing a lie? Or am I going to accept the truth no matter how uncomfortable it might be? No matter who in my life decides they want to be a part of my life or not based on what I believe or don't believe? Are you going to accept the truth about whatever he reveals to us in the future, or are you going to reject it and live under a delusion? because that's what it is. A person who believes in something that's not true, they're delusional. That's what it's called. And so some people think, oh, this is an insult that we throw at people, but it's actually just a description of somebody who believes a lie. And so you choose whether you want to believe the truth or not. And the problem a lot of the time is people will make the decision on their own and they won't seek out the Heavenly Father. Ever since I became a Christian, I seek out the Heavenly Father, especially when it comes to subjects like this, because I went through a whole awakening period. And I've kind of always been awake to these things are real, but if I see something in a video or evidence is presented to me, I'll weigh all my options. I'll do my research. I'll look stuff up. And most importantly, you pray before all of it. You say, Heavenly Father, show me. And you may not even have to search something out because he will bring those answers to you. He will shed light on what you need to focus on and what you need to see so that your soul and your mind can be set free from any delusions that you're under. And so that's what he's saying right now. Things are going to be more clear. The veil, it has been lifted. Things are being uncovered. So just be aware, cast out fear, because fear is what causes us to deny something. Fear is what causes us to lie in any given situation, whether it be lying to ourselves or lying to the people around us. But it starts with ourselves. If we lie to ourselves about something, we might lie to other people about it. Because we want to believe it, and that's what we put out. And so then we're guilty of lying to other people, even though we've convinced ourselves that it's the truth. It doesn't actually make it the truth just because we've convinced ourselves to believe something that is more comfortable and more pleasant to believe about the world in which we live. And so just be open and ask the Lord, is there anything you want to reveal to me? And, ask him to help you to accept any truths that you might come into, in the next month or the next year or so, to help you to handle those truths, help you to know what to do with those thoughts, help you to know what to do with what emotions arise in you at that moment, and most importantly, to reject fear, because fear is a spirit. God says he does not give us a spirit of fear, but of power, okay? We have a spirit of power, and that has nothing to do with fear. So the moment you feel fear of rejection of other people, fear of, the feelings that are going to overwhelm you, fear of being different, fear of change, because it will change your entire mindset. You will become a new person once you accept the truths about what's actually going on in this realm and in other realms. It's very, I don't even know the word. It's amazing. It's wonderful. It's frightening at times, and that's why we have to take authority over our own spirit, and we have to choose not to be frightened. We have to choose to be brave and stand up in the middle of information that is hard to accept, that is, filled with a lot of unknowns. So anyways, like I said, take this to the Lord, pray about it as you would with any prophetic word, and I hope and pray that you guys have a wonderfully blessed day.